Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
So there I was trying to get a show out for tomorrow and realized, holy schnozzle, man, it's, yeah, here's the thing.
Holy nozzle flop.
Yeah, holy nozzle flop. There you go. A hairier term. Greetings, everyone. Repeat here. You're listening to So There I Was, talking with my co-host down in Florida.
This is Florida.
Oh, Florida. Tomatoes, all that happy crap. Look, last week's show with Masher was an amazing show.
Epic.
Is an amazing show and always will be. We do not want to shortchange that gentleman. By the way, in the interim, I have received his book. I'm going to send it off to him for autograph. And here's the cool thing. If you buy his book and send it to him for autograph, he will personalize it. And as you may note in the book, there are several of his sketches because he's an artist. He says he puts a little sketch in there for you. So he's going to do a sketch for me. So
that is badass.
Yeah. Prisoner of War, 6 Years in Hanoi. The hardbound cover, I don't know. I want to say it's about a 90-page book, maybe something like that. The hardbound cover on Amazon is about $35. But this is from a piece of American history who spoke with us last week. We don't want to shortchange him. It was almost a 2-hour show. We want you to not cram that away and then come listen to the next episode. Go spend some time finishing it. You are definitely going to be glad you did. Because next week we've got what Fig? Another quick show?
No, it is not another quick show. And nor should it be, because we've had legends on this podcast the last couple of weeks. I mean, actually, over and over we've had legends, but holy shit, you can't.
But 2 in a row, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and we get next week. We're going to get really geeky, and there's going to be some times if you're not a pilot and don't understand aerodynamics, there's going to be some things he talks about that I'm telling you, it made my blood run cold when he started talking about minimum control airspeed and multi-engine and simulated engine out. Because I know it'll happen to an airplane, and it almost happened to them. Damn near killed them.
But
we'll talk about
Seriously.
that more in next week's preamble. But fantastic stuff. But,
and what are we talking about today exactly?
Well, here's the thing. Jeff Cross sent me an email, and I was fascinated by it as I read it. I don't know. Have you ever read any of John Steinbeck's books?
Yes.
Of Mice and Men? Yeah. East of Eden. Yeah. Travels with Charlie. All that good stuff. So he sent me something about John Steinbeck that I didn't know. He was 64 years old and went to Vietnam as a reporter for Newsday because he wanted to go and see what they were doing. And so I read that email, and I want to share that with you folks now. Even though Fig and I bust helicopter pilots' chops all the time, and they rightfully deserve it for their incredible lack of sanity to crawl in an airplane that has rotary wings and tries to tear itself apart every moment that it's actually running. The fact is we respect what they do, but wouldn't want to do it for all the tea in China. It is terrifying, but we have a lot of respect because those men and women who fly helicopters put their backsides on the line every day for people who need the services of them. This was written about combat helicopter pilots, Army specifically, in Vietnam. It was sent to us by Jeff Cross, and it goes something like this. January 7th, 1967, in Pleiku, Vietnam. John Steinbeck, one of America's greatest writers, author of Mice and Men, East of Eden, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, climbed into a UH-1 Huey helicopter with Troop D, 1st Squadron, 10th Air Cavalry. He was 64 years old, too old for combat, too famous to be risking his life in a war in a helicopter. But Steinbeck had volunteered to go to Vietnam as a war correspondent for Newsday, determined to understand what young American soldiers were experiencing. So he flew with them, mission after mission, through hostile territory, under enemy fire, zigzagging through valleys and over jungle canopy, and what he witnessed changed him. That night he sat down and wrote a letter to Alicia Patterson, the publisher of Newsday. What poured out wasn't a military dispatch or a tactical analysis. It was something closer to a love letter, to flight itself, to skill transformed into art, to the aching beauty of watching someone do something you know you'll never be able to do yourself. He wrote, "I wish I could tell you about these pilots. They make me sick with envy. They pilot their vehicles like a man controls a beautiful, well-trained draft horse. They zigzag along stream beds, rise like swallows to clear the trees, turn, twist, and dive like swifts in the evening." Think about that for a moment. John Steinbeck, a man who'd mastered the English language, who'd won every literary prize imaginable, whose words had moved millions, was sick with envy, watching 20-year-old helicopter pilots, not because they were brave, though they were, and not because they were heroic, though many were, but because they possessed a skill he knew he would never have, no matter how badly he wanted it. "I watched their hands and feet on the controls," he continued. "The delicacy of their coordination reminds me of Pablo Casal's sure, seemingly slow hands on the cello. They are truly musicians, and they play their controls like music, and they dance them like ballerinas, and they make me jealous. Because I so long to do the same." Steinbeck saw what most people missed. Helicopter pilots weren't just soldiers operating machines. They were artists, musicians, dancers. Their hands on the cyclic and collective weren't mechanical motions. They were performances, virtuoso displays of coordination that rivaled anything in a concert hall or on a ballet stage. He'd watched Pablo Casals, one of history's greatest cellists, perform. And he saw the same grace, the same unconscious mastery in the hands of young warrant officers flying Hueys over a hostile jungle. Then Steinbeck wrote something heartbreaking. "Do you remember your childhood nighttime dream of perfect, free, and wonderful flight? It's like that, and sadly, I know I never will." The Nobel laureate had discovered a dream he couldn't achieve. At 64, with hands that had typed masterpieces, he knew they would never learn the muscle memory required to fly a helicopter in combat. They were too old and forgetful to receive orders from the command center. "My hands are too old and forgetful," he admitted, "to receive orders from the command center, which speaks of updrafts and crosswinds, drift and changes of direction, or ground attacks indicated by a small puff or a flash or a bang, and all these commands must be obeyed by the musician's hands instantly and automatically." He understood the complexity. Pilots weren't just flying, they were processing dozens of inputs simultaneously. Wind direction, altitude, terrain, enemy fire, formation position, radio calls, and their hands had to respond instantly, automatically, the way Casal's fingers found the right notes without conscious thought. Steinbeck could only watch, admire, envy. "I must express my desire in admiration and joy at seeing it," he concluded. "Sorry for the ecstasy leak, Alicia, but I had to get it out or I'd explode." Ecstasy leak. That phrase alone tells you everything about what Steinbeck experienced in that Huey. He was overwhelmed, transported, witnessing something so beautiful it couldn't be contained. This wasn't a propaganda. Steinbeck wasn't cheerleading for the war. In fact, his Vietnam coverage would later become more critical of the conflict. This was pure, honest appreciation for the human skill elevated to art. The helicopter pilots he flew with probably had no idea who he was. They were warrant officers in their early 20s, most barely out of high school, flying one of the war's most dangerous jobs. Huey pilots had some of the highest casualty rates in Vietnam. They flew into hot landing zones, extracted wounded under fire, provided close air support at treetop level. They didn't think of themselves as artists or musicians or dancers. They were just doing their jobs, trying to stay alive, trying to bring their crews home. But Steinbeck saw deeper. He saw what their training and experience had created, a fusion of human and machine so complete that the helicopter became an extension of their bodies, responding to thought as quickly as their own hands. He saw the swallow-like grace of a Huey banking along a stream bed, the balletic precision of a combat landing in a tight clearing, the musical coordination of hands and feet working controls in perfect harmony. And he saw his own limitation, the dreams we carry from childhood that remain forever out of reach, no matter how much we achieve in other areas. John Steinbeck could create worlds with words. He could make readers weep, rage, hope. His novels changed American literature. But he would never fly a helicopter. His hands were too old. That dream was closed to him. So he did what writers do. He captured it in words so perfect that decades later they still make helicopter pilots stop and think, someone finally understood. Steinbeck died just over a year later, in December 1968. His Vietnam dispatches were among his final published works. That passage about helicopter pilots, that ecstasy leak, became one of the most beloved pieces of writing about aviation ever composed. Vietnam helicopter veterans still share it. They print it out, frame it, read it at reunions, because Steinbeck gave them something rare, literary validation. He told them they weren't just soldiers or pilots. They were artists performing at the highest level of their craft. He saw their hands on the controls and recognized Casale's hands on the cello. He watched them dance their helicopters through hostile sky and saw ballerinas. He flew with them through the nightmare of Vietnam and found beauty. That's what great writers do. They see what others miss. They find the universal in the specific. They transform experience into language that outlasts the moment. And sometimes, like Steinbeck in that Huey overplay coup, they confess to envy, to the aching desire to do something they know they'll never be able to do. Sorry for the ecstasy leak, Alicia, but I had to get it out or I'd explode. 60 years later, that ecstasy still leaks through. Every helicopter pilot who reads those words feels seen. Every person who ever dreamed of flight feels understood. And every reader encounters something rare. A Nobel Prize-winning novelist admitting that some forms of mastery exist beyond words in the hands of young men flying Hueys through hostile sky, their fingers dancing on controls like musicians playing instruments that only they can truly hear. They make me sick with envy. The greatest compliment one master ever paid to another. John Steinbeck in a Huey, January 7th, 1967. Watching pilots less than half his age perform miracles he knew he'd never master, and writing it down so beautifully that we're still reading it, still moved by it, still understanding exactly what he meant. Some skills are art, some art defies description, and sometimes the best a great writer can do is confess, I wish I could do that. God, how I wish I could do that. That honesty, that vulnerable admission from a literary giant might be the most powerful thing Steinbeck ever wrote. The pilots he flew with are mostly gone now. The Hueys they flew are in museums. The war they fought is history. But Steinbeck's words remain. His ecstasy leak still moves readers. His envy still honors those musicians' hands on the controls. And somewhere, young helicopter pilots still read those words and think, he got it. He really got it. That's immortality. Not in monuments or medals, but in words so true they transcend time. Musicians' hands on the controls. Dancers in the sky. Artists at war. John Steinbeck saw it, and he made sure we'd never forget. All right, all you rotor heads, put it back in your pants. That's enough.
Well, hey, well read, number one.
Right.
Well read, and wow, it was well written.
Yeah, it really was. I don't know who wrote that about John Steinbeck, but obviously what Steinbeck wrote is incredible and goes to anybody who's experienced the art of flight and has mastered it. So, well, it's come close to mastering it. I don't think anyone ever has.
Guy that wrote that about the article. I mean, come on,
right?
It was very eloquent though, and dude, it was impactful.
Yeah, no, very cool. I mean, because those guys did some amazing stuff over there, and we've heard some of it, but
cannot take that away from them ever. No. What the helicopter community did in Vietnam was truly epic.
Yeah. And we've had the privilege of having some of them on the show with us. Guys like Gunny and One Eye, and I shouldn't have even said that because now I know I've left some out that I shouldn't.
Cobra 3-1.
Yeah, Cobra 3. Well, yeah, right. Yeah. So apologies to those I left out. I didn't mean to. And my point is that all of you just did some amazing work over there, and we're forever in debt. So that's kind of it for this week's show. Really, we just wanted to give you a little taste of something. We're going to be back next week with a pilot who was amazing. We'll talk more about that in the preamble for next week. But the teaser is, I asked him what terrified him, and the dude said driving to work.
Yeah, the ride to work. Listen,
yeah.
You're getting two back-to-back epic stories.
Absolutely. So I think what we should do real quickly is just acknowledge once again, thank you to all of you who have served, who are serving, to your families. Thank you to Dave Hamilton over at Backbeat Media. Thanks to Styx, Bago. Thanks to Badass. Where's my long loop? BDS. Looking for my long loop. There it is.
BDS aviationphotography.com.
Right.
And of course, the Dos Gringos.
Dos Gringos?
Giving us their music.
Oh, and if you're looking at the video, DCWorks.net, our latest sponsor.
Yeah, that is truly an epic piece of art, which I actually have one myself. He was so gracious to send me one as well.
Right. I'm stoked. I just talked to him today. I'm ordering a VMA 223 Bulldog with the cigar, Great American Bulldogs, about 18 inches to 2 feet. That's going to go in my fighter bar downstairs. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Got to get you one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's about it, Fig. I don't know. I think until next week, stay safe, and in keeping with this week, don't sit on that collector, man.
Don't sit on it, buddy.
Don't do it.
I'll do it.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
Hold on. It's what?
He said it's over.
Okay, I didn't ask for your life story.
Weird. Out.